Are you a frustrated secondary education teacher? Does part of your frustration comes from your struggling readers? I know this frustration all too well. Hello, cohorts. I am Camelia Woods, a secondary education teacher and a fellow student at Jackson State University. Today, I want to share with you my PowerPoint entitled Adolescent Literacy, a Road to Higher Learning. You will notice throughout this PowerPoint that this presentation, that I will make various analogies as it relates to driving and the road. Okay? I was first inspired to create this presentation because of an article that I read entitled Adolescent Literacy, School-Wide Literacy Planning by Joan Sedita. In this article, she discussed literacy skills and how essential these skills are in middle and in high school. This got the wheels in my head turning because I began viewing reading as a journey on a highway. So I visualized that on this journey, there's a frustrated, withdrawn student. And this student must get on the road in order to get to the destination that he or she requires. And the end of the road is a confident college and career ready student. Okay? So, throughout this journey, I decided to input some pit stops. And these pit stops are things that we have to consider when we're trying to get our students to move on the path in the right direction. So, are you ready for this journey? Buckle up and let's begin. So, to begin, I wanted to define what was essential about the article. So I gave it a summary and I did it, I critiqued it and I included that in the presentation so the reader who's can get an idea of what I was going for and what motivated me. The first, the slide after that slide is defining what is adolescent literacy. And adolescent literacy has to do with an adolescent having the ability to read, write, understand, and interpret multiple texts from multiple contexts. And so sometimes students read and they think, oh, okay, well, I said the word on the page, or they tried to say the word on the page, but that's not reading. We know, okay, because in actuality, there are 5 components of reading, and so a student must have the ability to have phonics, a phonemic awareness, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. And sometimes all of those things aren't in place, so therefore they're not considered a good reader. But we're not going to be in dismay because we're going to do what we can to get them to where we want them to go. All right, follow me. But hold up. There's a pit stop. Pit stop, you say? Pit stop. Yes, a pit stop. Why? Because it's testing. How are you going to help your students if you do not know where their downfalls are? So, I included various tools on a reading matrix that you can assess your students with in order to determine where their weaknesses are. Okay? The next slide after that is a slide about the lexile of students. Okay, so we can understand what grade level they are reading on and what lexile book will be more comfortable for them when they are reading. All right. The following slide are signs that help you indicate that a student is a struggling reader. If the student struggle with fluency when they read, or if the student lacks decoding skills, if a student has insufficient vocabulary recognition, if a student has decreased phonemic awareness, or if the student avoids reading altogether, yeah, those are signs. You have that student that every time it's time to read, they want to lay their head down. Those type of students. Do you have that one student who all of a sudden has to use the restroom? Yeah, that's a sign. Okay, so what are we going to do? Did you know? Okay, on the did you know, if you press the play button, oh no, you don't have to press the play button. It is my voice actually reading the slide, but some alarming thing that I found out through research, that if a student does not have good reading skills, they have 4 bad possible outcomes, and that's retention, or dropping out, or become a teen parent, or the student may end up in the juvenile justice system. And I know you don't want that, because I look at my students as if they're my children, and so I know you won't want that for your children. Following that, another pit stop. Why? Because in order for us to help our students, we need to know their learning style. And so I incorporated some of the what helps the at-risk students in order for them to be successful. Okay, so I included a sample learning inventory sheet that can be given to the students in order to determine their learning styles. Following that, I decided to include various balanced literacies for each of the 5 components of reading. But then what is that? Another pit stop. Because we have that information that we need, where they are, where they're struggling. And then we have to figure out how we're going to engage our students. Okay, that is a big one, because already the students don't have the proper ability to read. They probably refer and say that they hate reading. So how are we going to help them? We're going to help them first by understanding what is required of them. And according to the distribution scale, students in high school should only be reading 30% literature and 70% of informational text. Okay, it is imperative that we stick to that, because when they're state tested, and even after, most things that they will read will be informational text. Okay, they may complain, I don't want to read that, it's boring. Well, we got to learn about history, we doing that in social studies. But it doesn't matter. You're going to learn about it in English as well, in your reading class as well. Okay, so then we move on to how to engage the reader before, during, and reading after reading a particular text. The student has to have a strong connection, be at one with the text, if you will, because if they don't, by the time you they get through reading, they won't be able to tell you a thing about what they read about. Okay, so we have to establish some type of graphic organizer, or some type of questions to help guide them along the way so they will